Hello and good morning. It's Friday the 20th. Is it the 20th? It is the 20th of January 2023. My name is Steve Pugh, and every Friday morning I do a bit of a live stream where we talk about interesting topics from the week. Normally, stuff goes exactly like this. Stuff goes wrong. Last week we had a problem with sound on one of the streams, and this is the real world. This is kind of what happens. What I try and do every week is both talk about progress that we've made on the start of ourselves with the Roadmap MBA and what we're looking to do. I've done a lot of outreach recently, so actually if you've received a pack that looks a little bit something like this, basically what we're looking to do is bring free business education and training to the world. That it's our belief that genuinely you can help empower communities and do really wonderful things. But actually often, I think it's 97% of the world's population doesn't have access to what we'd class as traditional forms of business education and training, because basically it's just so expensive. It takes a lot of time, or you're in the wrong part of the world, it's in the wrong language, it's not accessible because maybe you have a disability. But actually there are loads and loads of barriers which actually stop people from being able to learn and develop and build a better career or business for themselves. That what we wanted to do was basically create a platform and create a support mechanism to help people around the world basically do exactly that. So if you work for yourself or you have ambitions to one day launch your own business, what we hope to do with the roadmap is basically either in printed form, but we also have an app and a whole website and all that stuff. So it's roadmapmba.com. Is basically just give you the tools and techniques to really just help teach you the best techniques in the world that you can use to help grow your business, and actually hopefully make it accessible in a way that the way that we teach is different to how universities and that do it. That traditionally, if you go to do a traditional MBA at a big prestigious university, they have a fixed curriculum which they just throw at you, and it's your job to kind of gobble it up. But often they send you away and they ask you to read through 800-page textbooks and to almost absorb this theory in the hope that you can then actually, most of them ask you to do reports or exams where you just regurgitate the theory back to them in like the academic kind of format. We don't do any of that. We just give you the answers for what you actually need to know. So we explain the major tools and concepts and things which will actually help you, but we kind of just give you the answer because what we're trying to do is help you get that promotion, help you feed your kids, help you pay your bills. So it is a completely different reimagining on business education, and that's what we're looking to do. Really incredible, actually. We're in 40 different countries now. 40, I have a map on my wall there with lots of different pins on. And actually, we've got users now in Tunisia and Romania and Ukraine and across Africa. And most of our concentration is still in Europe. But actually, considering we haven't been going that long, and actually it is just me, I'm actually really proud of that, which is quite kind of cool as well. But what I also like to do is just be honest about how the challenges and stuff that you kind of go through and I go through, because it's not plain sailing. I know what I'm doing to kind of do this, and loads of stuff goes wrong and it takes longer than I would expect. So hence why I like to talk about it on the stream as well. But if you get in touch, it should pop up on the screen here. I love it when people just say hello. I'd love to know where in the world you're kind of watching from as well. And as silly as this sounds, one of my purchases this week, I love stuff to be on brand, but I've finally bought some black mugs as well. That basically, so I'm just going to end that call, is basically just to be on brand with the live streams. But again, that kind of proves the point of I'm live, this is live, it's 9:03, I'm a real human. I'm just going to mute my phone, actually put it on airplane mode. But yeah, so this is the live stream. So what I'm going to talk about this week is basically what we've been up to. So we're actually getting ready to prepare our application to something called Y Combinator. So if you've never heard of it, YC is the world's biggest and most prestigious startup accelerator. These guys have funded people like DoorDash and Dropbox and Coinbase and Airbnb. And essentially what you're looking at with YC is that it's the world's biggest and best startup accelerator, that if you have dreams to do that, to really reach for the skies, to be the next Deca unicorn, to be the world's biggest startup for 2024-25, for me, that's where you would choose to go. There are others, there are hundreds of different startup accelerators around the world, but basically with the roadmap, I want to aim big. That actually I really want to work with people that have been there, done it, that understand the process, because likewise, I have huge respect for anyone that has built a business. But likewise, building a $1 billion scale up proper business there isn't actually that many people in the world that have done that and actually done it for real from day one. And I'll be honest, they're the people I would like to work with as we go on this kind of journey. So with someone that I'm bringing in as my co-founder, I'm not going to say who it is because actually they have their own career kind of stuff and considerations to consider at the moment. But actually, yes, we're starting to do all of the applications. I watch every day the pitch videos on YouTube. So you can often put in YC application and then it'd be winter 23, which is literally just started. And essentially, as part of that process, you are asked to record. It says 1 minute, but a lot of people seem to go like a minute and a half. But regardless, you're asked to record a 1 minute video about who you are, what you do, and why they should care. Because these guys get 20,000 applicants, so they have to sift through them really quickly. That actually, hopefully, that is a great way to kind of just get through and sell the passion. So I've been writing the script about what we're going to say and how we're going to sell the dream about the roadmap. And again, I can talk, so it's very difficult to get that down into kind of 60 seconds. But also there's a physical application. So it's an online kind of Google sheet. And like an exam, you have to put your answers in to hopefully convince them that they want to fund your idea and that they buy into the team. So I've been doing a lot of work on that as well. With my co-founder, for when we're looking to go on this next journey, we're starting to work that up. We've got the pitch deck ready. And hopefully what we're really looking at, and the reason why we're looking to apply to YC, is that for a business like ours, we are largely in what you consider in global terms, that kind of pre-revenue. So we're not making tons of money every month. We're still in that idea phase where we've got the idea, we've got proof of concept, we've got users, and we're starting to just commercialize it and build it forward. But that isn't actually attractive to most VC funds and people to invest in because it's too early stage. Where you would often be recommended to go to was someone called an angel investor. So these are people that are willing to take a punt on higher risk, really early stage businesses. But actually, I've just done that myself. So I've self-funded that portion. And then the next point would be to do what's called a pre-seed or a seed raise, where basically we raise the next round of cash to help us get to the next milestone. And for that, basically, we are going big. So that's where we're going to apply to YC. I think we will get in. If we don't, we'll figure out what to do next, but we don't have a plan B, and I think that's the way it should be. We're going to kind of aim big with the business. But likewise, I just wanted to record a very quick kind of 2-minute segment on it, because at some point I might have an update to say that we did get in or we didn't. I don't know, but I just wanted to share and put this onto YouTube as well. My name's Steve Pugh. If we don't know each other, I'd love it if you like and subscribe and just kind of reach out. And what I'll try and do is both share our journey as a business, because I do that every week anyway, but then likewise, if we are lucky enough to get into YC, I'm going to blog the whole journey as well and hopefully kind of share the experience. Okay, the first topic I'm going to talk about. So in the northeast of England, where I'm based at the moment, it's largely, I guess, an industrial part of England, of the UK, a lot of heritage in shipbuilding, and we make big industrial stuff. That has transitioned over the years. So we have, I believe, Europe's biggest car plant with Nissan in Sunderland, which is about 15 minutes from where I am that way. But also with, we do a lot of stuff in offshore energy. So that's actually my background as a mechanical engineer. So I've worked in the offshore energy industry for 10, 12 years, and it's brilliant. And we have some fantastic, genuinely world-leading companies that work in that sector, that have the expertise, that work on projects all over the world, and we're brilliant at that. But also on a grander scheme, basically the region is also classed as a slightly more deprived area, that often we look to attract major investment into the region, as all parts of the world do, to both create economic prosperity and also create jobs. So on Teesside, which is part of the region, at the south of the region, we have something called Tees Works, which is a really big industrial site, which was a steel works until about 4 years ago, which obviously steel is hugely polluting. So actually to reclaim that land and now make it a huge investment site to try and attract people for things like offshore renewables, that's really attractive. But also in Blythe, which is about 40 minutes that way, so slightly at the top of the region, there was a major employer and a major project called British Volt that had committed, and it was a really big news story for quite a long time, to come to the UK, but specifically the northeast of England, to build, it's a £3.8 billion factory. And what they were looking to do was make electric vehicle batteries for the likes of Tesla and everyone else. That obviously, as we know, EVs are growing exponentially, but actually there is a shortage in both the batteries for them and also the metals and the materials that go into those. So the British Volt investment was basically a really big deal that everyone kind of wanted to be part of. All of your service companies, your solicitors, your lawyers, whatever, of course, wanted to work with them to get work off them, but also recruitment firms and everyone you can imagine. It's a really big deal if you can get big kind of stakeholder engagement and actually, you know, investment into the region. So yes, it was going to be based in Blyth. They were actually originally planning to create 3,000 jobs. So in the northeast of England, it's about 500,000 people. So actually 3,000 is in theory only a really small percentage, but actually it's the economic impact that that can have. If you have a big anchor tenant, such as a car factory or someone like that, that will actually support hundreds of smaller supply chain businesses that either grow in the region or move to the region. And the reason for kind of telling this story is that it was announced this week that basically they've gone into administration. So the whole project has gone. There is 232 staff have been made instantly kind of redundant, and actually EY have been brought in as the administrators. And what I wanted to do was actually just talk about why these mega projects fail. So for any industry, you often need a client or a buyer that will buy your stuff. So if someone said to me, look, Steve, will you create a business education course and I'll buy a million copies if you make it, but I can't pay you for 4 years. You would then look at all your finances and say, well, actually, that's a really big opportunity. I can make this amount of profit. It has this amount of social good and benefit. Yes, that's a punt I'm willing to take and I'm willing to do. Often when you actually have these mega projects, and if we went back 10, 12 years, I worked for a regional development authority, or basically it's a UK government entity whose job it is to grow economic development and help create jobs. So I kind of got to see a little bit behind the curtain. And often what happens when you have these mega contracts and projects is that the amount of stakeholders that you need to engage and have sign off from is huge, that actually there's loads of ways and areas that these can actually fall flat. I think in British Volt's example, actually what happened is that they ran out of cash and they were unable to achieve further fundraising to kind of go through the burn rate. But part of the reason is that when you first launch a project, if you have your cash, generally most projects start with the amount of money in the bank, and that's probably here. And then you have your burn rate where basically you slowly use the cash to pay for your staff and build a factory and build stuff. And you might be able to get some government grants, which will be based on how much progress you've actually made. So you might get a little bit of a bump, which could be, say, 30% of the project cost. But then essentially what you've got is a slow death of your cash flow, and your money is just running out until you can actually start to drive revenue where you can actually sell your stuff to a customer, or you get more investment and actually you can then just bump up the line to give you more runway. One of the problems with these mega projects is because they quite physically take so long to build. So it's probably 3-4 years planning, probably 2-3 years to build the factory. Then it'd be another year to kind of get it up to speed to get product out the door, which you can then sell. But often if you sell things like electric car batteries, the unit price might only be, say, £200 each. So that's a lot of £200 units. That's a lot of car batteries that you need to sell to get back a £4 billion investment to make this business viable. And it's in this valley of death where a lot of businesses fail, where basically you run out of cash before the revenue comes in. And this is also true for a lot of startups as well, that for me with the roadmap, basically I just keep earning money and putting the money in to kind of keep it going. But this is really common. And actually what we're looking to, my whole point of kind of sharing this advice, is that for your own project or for your own business, always try and give you the longest runway that you can. So you might have 2 months savings in the bank, or you might have no money, and you might actually start your side hustle or whichever whilst you're working. That's actually a really smart thing to do, because if you still have paid income from a job, whilst you might not be able to actually commit 100% to your new business, it does give you infinite runway. One of the other reasons that I always used to see these projects fail as well is that on Teesside, which I mentioned before, you have Europe's biggest chemical cluster. So you have a big part of the region which has power plants and chemical plants and plants that make loads of different chemicals that go into pharmaceuticals and all this kind of cool stuff. And basically each of these plants often provides the feedstock for other people. So there used to be a big factory that grows tomatoes, and they used to actually take a lot of the CO2 from one of the other factories to help do whatever it is that they need to do. But one of the, again, the challenges that you get is that clients often need a long-term commitment to invest £4 billion into a factory, but often their buyers can't always do it. So for instance, if Tesla had signed up to say, look, we guarantee to buy X number of batteries from you, that will still be conditional on the fact that they get the factory up and running and all these get out of jail free causes. Because then no company wants to get stung where they put all their eggs in one basket to buy everything committed from this provider. And as has happened, if that provider goes bust, you don't want it to make your company goes bust. And what you often get is this chicken and egg scenario where actually it takes a big leap of faith or commitment to make the whole thing work for major investments which have to start from scratch. Is where actually the better way to do it would have been to have built a smaller factory with less investment, but actually get that revenue coming in quickly, and then use that to help grow organic expansion to actually help you be sustainable in the short term. But actually then you can build the bigger factory and get to where you need to be. If you go all in to basically try and raise £4 billion, but you actually have to spend almost all of it before you actually generate any revenue, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And actually last week, or maybe it was this week, this actually happened in the northeast of England. And a lot of people, sadly, will have lost their jobs because of it. But also there are things that we can learn as business people that basically it doesn't matter if you have a coffee shop or an education startup or whichever. Always manage your runway, manage your cash, and actually if you can get cash coming in as quickly as you can. And even if it takes you longer to get to where you want to be, hopefully at least you're sustainable and you can survive that period, because the truth is most people don't. So my name's Steve. If you catch this on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or whichever, I love it if you say hello, but also if you like and subscribe. We do lots of kind of business and entrepreneurship type content. Okay. So how's everyone's week been? Been a pretty busy week actually, but I'm actually really excited. It's Friday. Weekends my time when I know my phone isn't going to ring and I can just work on my own stuff and work on different projects. And I think the big one for me is working on all of the YC stuff, which is quite cool. And then actually you might have seen on my socials, as part of a new product that we're going to launch, I also got some kind of Disney character drawings done of the team. It's as part of a different project. And what I wanted was just to kind of build around the brand, have some stuff which was a little bit more friendly, and it was just a bit of fun, but actually it's quite cool. I was quite pleased with it. And basically I actually got those done on Fiverr. So if you've never heard of Fiverr, basically it's a platform where basically you can hire people from around the world that each have a different gig, is what they call it. So this one particular person, they have a gig which is drawing Disney style cartoons of whatever you want. And basically I sent them a photo of me, Ashley and Ifeanyi, and basically said, could they do this? And it came back and it was pretty cool. But you can use it for logos and voiceovers and anything. And actually, this isn't a plug for Fiverr, but actually it is quite cool and I use it quite a lot as well. So that's fiverr.com and I use it. I think it's cool. Perfect. Okay. I do find it funny that something goes wrong every week. The fire alarm hasn't gone off today, which is strange, but my phone did at the start, but you probably didn't hear that. I just saw it kind of go on my wrist. Other stuff that I've been up to, I have been trying to work on my fitness a little bit more. I have slacked off a little bit. So on Tuesday, I actually hit my lowest weight. So I hit 92.5 kilograms, but I'm 6'3", so that's not too bad. But actually, I really kind of pushed myself really hard in one of my Peloton classes, and I was in this room at like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and I actually felt dizzy and I didn't feel great. And I think I was basically pushing it too hard, both in kind of controlling what I was eating and also the exercise that went with it. So I purposely didn't do anything Wednesday, Thursday. I had some chocolate yesterday, I had a nice lunch, I had a nice tea. And I think that's the big thing, is that it's knowing when, I know what the end goal is. So my goal is to try and get to 88 kilograms, which is kind of my target weight goal. But also I want to do it sustainably and feel good doing it. I'm not just going to, starve myself or feel dizzy or whatever. So it's that gradual process of take my time. But again, I like to kind of make myself accountable. Even if nobody watches and nobody cares, it kind of matters to me. It's kind of what I'm doing. Okay, next interviews. So for one of my clients, basically I've been interviewing people this week. And I just thought interviews were a really interesting topic to talk about. And trust me, I've been through a lot of different interviews, some good, some bad over the years. And they're horrible things. The pressure and the stress before you start to talk to people, the worry about were your answers any good? Is your CV good? Are you going to get it? Are you not going to get it? Because if you don't get it, you're worried about paying your rent or your bills. And actually, it's all of these little things add up and basically make interviews mega stressful and not particular fun. So what I wanted to do is someone that has been interviewing people this week. Hi, Jonathan. Thank you and hope you're well. And hopefully is the sound working okay this week? But no, I appreciate it when you kind of get in touch. So with interviews, yeah, basically I've been interviewing people this week. And what I wanted to do was almost, from an employer's point of view, kind of share some, or at least my thoughts on the topic. So the first one, I'd say that it's probably 50% skills of what you judge people on. So obviously when people send in their CV, before you ever invite them to interview, you want to look at, can they physically do the job? Do they have experience which could be relevant? And even if they're a graduate or a student, have they done something in their life or in their hobbies or whichever, which kind of relates to what you do, that it shows that they're proactive and they're likable, but ideally in a career, instance, that they've kind of done what you want to hire. So skills is really important, and this could be used with software programs. It could be anything that you imagine for the job that you want to go for. But the other thing that I think it was really important to kind of talk about, I'd say it's also 50% kind of trust and people skills. So when I interview people, especially for the first interview, I want to know, can they do the job? What's their background? Is it credible? But the other side to it as well is all to do with trust, because when you interview people, you can't literally, approach all of their past employers, neither kind of should you, to check what they've said. But you also need to know, do I believe what they're telling me? Because the truth is, if you don't believe what someone's telling you in an interview, why would you offer them a job? You probably wouldn't. So therefore, it's that trust and the rapport. But actually, there are things that you can do to really help improve your interview kind of process. One is make sure that your CV is relevant for the job that you're applying to. So if you can, make sure there's no mistakes, but also tailor it for the job. So if you're applying for a subsea energy job, go through past your past CV and actually pick out bits and skills which are relevant for the job that you're going for, even if you took a little bit of time in a different area, which is quite cool. Do research on the company. We hired someone straight out of university, probably about 4 or 5 months ago now. But in the interview, I interviewed probably 6 candidates, 3 in person. But one of them had done a huge amount of research on the company, was really enthusiastic, was excited. And that does a massive thing, because often the people who is actually doing the recruitment, it's gut feel between, I really like that guy, they've done a really good job and they put the effort in. And the truth is that actually does kind of come across. And then last but not least, ask kind of questions. So in an interview, what you want is someone that's engaged and they want to ask questions and they want to learn. The recruiter won't expect you to know, or the interviewer won't expect you to know everything from the start, but actually the enthusiasm and your passion to want to join the team and fit in with the team and the culture and the business where they are is, I reckon, 50% of actually the hiring decision. As long as you've got the skills, you can learn the skills, and it will depend on what you're doing. But again, enthusiasm is really important. That likewise, if you're looking for work as well, reach out to people on LinkedIn, look at job boards, and really it's that hustle and the personal touch does go a long way, because actually nobody's ever reached out to me, have they? No, and basically said, look, I love what you do with the roadmap. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to work on a startup. Are there any opportunities? And the point is, even if there aren't, I would still consider them and I would put them higher up the list, because actually I respect their hustle. I respect the fact that they've gone out their way, and they're obviously hopefully quite passionate about what we do. And it was just something that I wanted to talk about as a really kind of quick segment on the live stream. If you catch this on LinkedIn or Twitter or YouTube or Facebook, you can follow us at Roadmap MBA. Please kind of like and subscribe. And likewise, yeah, we cover business and entrepreneurship and careers type content. So hopefully that's useful for you. Hi, Jonathan. Sounds good, but you're working in Tenerife. So lag. Tenerife, wow. Funny story. So actually, we had a lovely lady, or I had a call with a lovely lady called Michelle yesterday who comes to the 7 a.m. sessions on Thursdays, and basically she'd just come back from Tenerife and she said it was lovely. Apparently if you, there's some stargazing is really cool, so actually go and check it out. I can't remember where she described it was, but no, have a wonderful time. I first went to Tenerife when I was 18, 19 on a lad's holiday. Probably completely messy compared to what you're doing, and plus that would have been 1999, 2000-ish. So the world's moved on, but actually have a wonderful time, and I appreciate you kind of tuning in. Last but not least, which I wanted to talk about on the live stream, is actually it's the importance of building relationships. So with the roadmap, as I mention all the time, so we are a real world business course that's trying to make business education and training accessible to 5 billion people worldwide, just to help empower communities so that they have an option to help them grow and upskill and actually help them grow and develop in a way that traditional business education often isn't accessible to. It's almost 97% of the world's population, just because it's so expensive, and with the cost of living and stuff at the moment. Even in the UK, which is I think the world's 6th richest nation, I would guess that 90% of the population can't afford to drop 20 grand to go and do a business course at a university, because actually they've got bills to pay. There's a lot of fear and recession fears and that kind of thing, that actually what we're looking to do is give people a genuine, credible option. Just again, you can learn completely for free. There's no ads, there's no catches, there's no sneaky things behind the scenes, but it's the community mission of what we're looking to do. But as I've kind of mentioned, someone said to me a few weeks ago, do I have someone that runs the stream for me? And the answer is no, I do this all myself. It's just me. I run all the computers and present at the same time. But one of our biggest challenges is something called social proof. It's to help raise awareness in what we're trying to do, but also just build partnerships with people that have an engaged user base that actually could benefit through what we're looking to do. So I'm actually doing a lot of outreach to charities and organizations that involve and support people either to get jobs in entrepreneurship, young people, anything like that. And this is around the world, because what I want to do is hopefully help people with the content and the time and the effort that's kind of gone in so far. But actually building partnerships is mega important. So I had a meeting with the guys at Coco, that are a fabulous charity based in the northeast of England. I had that yesterday. But actually there are lots of really cool organizations around the world. And what we're looking to do is partner with them to give them basically free access to everything that we do to help upskill and empower their communities. Because that's the real reason why we're doing this. Yes, we have a commercial angle, because that has, that's how we have to make it sustainable and pay for everything. But actually what we're looking to do is build partnerships with people like the Prince's Trust, because they work with 900,000 young people that we would also love to support and help their dreams and stuff as well. I'm going to grab a quick cup of coffee because my voice is gone. But my point for sharing that is that actually no matter what your organization does, there are people that you can work with and support that actually might help you with your aims and goals as well. And even on a purely selfish point of view, if you worked with different charities and you maybe got some positive PR off it as well, hopefully there's a win-win where you're supporting the charity and supporting people that they're passionate to help. But actually you're also raising awareness and profile with people that can use your service or just have an awareness of it. That actually partnerships, I think, are really important, and it's something that we're definitely looking to do as well. At 9:28, because my voice is starting to give out, I think I'm going to call it a day on the stream today. We clip these up and they all go onto YouTube as well, so you can actually catch up on loads of really interesting stuff. So if you search for Roadmap MBA anywhere on the internet, hopefully it will pop up, but YouTube is a great place that all the different bits that we talk about go onto there as well. And actually, if you go onto roadmapmba.com, You can create an account and learn completely for free, and this is CPD certified business education and training, to either help yourself upskill and basically help you launch your own business or actually progress your career. Or for any business owners, you can actually use it to help upskill and like kind of promote your team. We do have paid tiers, which include the physical book and some live classroom sessions and stuff as well. That is essentially what pays for everything else. But also, if you're a business, that's often the best way to learn and develop, because we quite literally work on stuff live together. So with Michelle, on Thursday morning, we were looking at actually what ways that can we help them improve their organization in real time through getting together every Thursday morning. And that's almost the beauty and the benefit of doing the kind of paid tiers. Before I wrap up, I can just see James's long comment. And Andrew Tate is a highly controversial figure, but I was wondering what your thoughts were on his online university, regardless of what you think to him. He appears to be extremely successful in building his university brand. Point where, truth is, James, I haven't actually seen it. Thank you for the heads up. I love, genuinely, more than I should, I love looking at competitor stuff to kind of get a feel for it. I'm intrigued to see actually the angle that he takes. So one thing that I did and do, so my day job is a management consultant, so I get paid to do real factual change in companies, and I get paid by the day to kind of, sometimes by the hour, to do that. So what we did is we went and looked at all the best strategies and techniques from all different areas: sales, strategy, marketing, management, glued them together, but actually simplified them based on real world experience. But essentially, that's the angle that we took. A lot of people with their courses and stuff, have a different take on it. Some people, I saw one recently, and it was the Chat GPT mini MBA, which someone sent me. Thank you to Clive. But that was how can you use Chat GPT to help improve your business? So it was quite a cool concept, but again, it had a niche. I will actually go and check out the Andrew Tate one, because I haven't got a clue what he's going to do. So rather than comment and not know, I will check it out and I'll let you know next week. I'm intrigued. And again, the whole point for what we're looking to do is to help people genuinely learn the skills and techniques and stuff that will help them as a charity fundraise, or as a freelancer just pay their bills and make their business a success. That I don't mind if someone else actually does something bigger and better and makes it free and people can access it. That's cool, because that helps us achieve what we actually want to achieve. But often I would guess that you have to pay for it. But that's cool. On that one, which is 9:31, James, thank you for the comments. Have a wonderful holiday. Everyone else, have a wonderful weekend. I hope to catch up with you soon. Ashley King's show is back on Tuesday morning, so actually really looking forward to having Ashley present back on the channel. And then likewise, we also do the 4 live drop-in sessions a week where you can drop in. It's on Zoom. We do share the links on socials, but you also log in via your dashboard at roadmapmba.com. And basically that's done on Zoom. It'll look the same as this. And basically we walk through the course to help you upskill, but also we can answer questions about your real actual business and stuff that you struggle with as well. Because actually for me, that's where the real value is. It's in that interaction and feedback is what we hope to do. And basically, if you need to jump straight to marketing or sales, because that's where we can make the biggest impact, we will do that, and we will help you kind of jump straight to whatever it is that you need. And that's a key differentiator against most traditional online courses or university courses, is that they have a fixed curriculum that you have to go through in order, and we don't do that. So thank you for your time. My name's Steve Pugh. Check out roadmapmba.com. We are a startup looking to bring free business education to the world and make it accessible to 5 billion people. Hopefully you'll see me ramble on about it for the next 10 years and it's going to be a fabulous success, but actually it could also fail tomorrow, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to try my best. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will speak to you soon. All right, cheers guys. Thank you. Bye bye.